Good morning, guys. Today I was inspired to make new content. I was browsing through one of the folders of my coverage, and this was with my internal project um, coverage, and there were five cameras, and most of these were just volunteer work and not really paid stuff. And then I was thinking, not everybody would want to take a look at that, and I just wanted like a summary of my life for that month. And it wound up pretty well. Long story short, there were like five people who covered it, and I just wanted to come up with one way, just like a highlight, so that it's easy to see. I just like wanted to do like a comic book thing, similar to what was presented here. Something like this, with some text, probably some explanation. So what I did was I selected a couple of photos from that shoot, from that event, that stood out to me. Actually selected them, and there were several uh, photographers who took them. So thanks to Shirley, Reyes, and Maria. So I'll be using these photos. Probably, if you ask me to put them down, I will. But thank you for the photos. It's not exactly the best that I have, but the best from the selection. But these are the ones that stood out to me. So thinking if I'm going to be putting that, I'm going to be selecting a background. So in a case where you want to merge a lot of photos and you're actually jam packing a lot of information into one format similar to what I have, you would really go with the theme, if something that's synced together or something that's contrasting. In a situation where your subjects are actually contrasting, you would want something that will be contrasting um, as a background. The objects individually are going to be contrasting, like this picture would be contrasting with this picture, and so on, right? So the theme is generally going to be like that. What I decided to do was, from these selection, I'll try to come up with a story and try to convey that these are the highlights and special with that particular project. So there are particular reasons why I selected these, and these are like standout shots from me from the project. So let's go ahead and do that. I came up with a background. So in selecting the background and the elements in the background, it's usually generally safer to just come up with one group. So this is going to be my background group. So from the background, just looking at the original photo, what I did was, I was thinking, yeah, contrasty. So first, did we want to make any changes on the brightness and contrast? Initially, I wanted like something less of a contrast, but you see, if there are banding or like digital marks like this, I usually want to stay away from that. So as much as possible, want them blending. Also, in the decision of contrast, if you want to punch it up really high, the focus becomes this thing in the center, and these lights, right? So eye naturally develops, is naturally, the eyes are naturally adapted to take a look at the contrasting things. And if you're looking at this as a background, and you would have like images like here and here and here and here, that might take away too much from the thing. So first thing is, for the general theme of that, I'm probably thinking maybe, we'll go ahead and probably just maybe not too punchy, right? So let's go back to that group. All right, so let's just hide these for now and just make sure they're part of like the group two. So group two is going to be the main elements of the composition that I have. So contrast. Next decision is brightness. Do you want more punch and bleed? So saturation is generally, you want it like the colors bleeding over each other or under. Again, if you see more artifacts or more aberration, of some people call it, I would want to generally stay away from that. And since this is going to be a background, you wanted something big and high quality, so that it matches the lower quality of the individual photos from within. But quality in itself is an altogether different conversation. So let's see, something punchy but not drawing too much attention to it, since it is a background. It's supposed to be an accent. So let's give it like a negative, negative 6, maybe 9. All right, let's just do that. Negative 9 probably. Yep. For the vibrance, did I want it to be very vibrant that much? Mm, uh, Going with contrast, I would want some contrast in spotlight. So let's get it like something like, yeah, let's see how 0 looks like. No, I want something less, right? So naturally the picture was too punchy, so I didn't want it like that. Next, curves. Well, actually, didn't do anything with curves. Let's look at hue and saturation. So one of the things that you can do in post is actually change the colors to a point where it's not natural, where actually that actually grabs subtly the attention of the viewer, where in this case, the place was never green. I can make it green if I wanted to. So generally, if you are a focus oriented, or this is like your main subject, or like one of the artifacts within, or objects within one of the small frames I'll have in the individual contents, what I'll do is I will actually, have some contrast to the point that the attention is selected there, and the color selection for hue and saturation is going to be based on what do I want the focus items to be of what color. So I just browse through this and okay, well, blue diamonds looks good, so maybe something like this, or something like this. Green, maybe. Yeah. So some people would prefer selecting hue and saturation before they even go with the brightness and contrast and vibrance and all of the color changes. But generally for a background, you don't have to pay that much attention to it. Did I want the lights red? So again, the two things that I'm focusing on here, even though there is this stand and the lighting is there, the focus is actually this screen and these lights. So as a background, that is a bad choice actually, because you have things that are grabbing attention that much, and if somebody pays attention, you get the other mic and these two things here. So just playing with the attention of the viewer, I'll probably go with something like a blue diamond thing, right? Going, all right. So I got that. Did I want it saturated? There's also saturation control here. Yeah, maybe not. So for this take, I'd like some of these sheen of these individual lights to show off. But since that was a digital projection, it wasn't really that good. I would not select it as such. So let's stick with a green. Now later on, I might change this green once I add the individual elements, because there will be several steps I'll be doing, just basic editing before I cut these images into what I'll have here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and lay out the boxes for group 2. So that's gonna be my group 1, my background. Probably make it a little bit more subtler when I add it, depending on how much contrast it brings into the picture. But I'll go ahead and add these photos, and then I'll get back to you on how I added individual photos. Alright, so this is the second part of the video. So after the layout, we'll go through each individual photo. We'll do the same things I'll be doing. So normally people just duplicate the layer and then they crop it, and then you would apply like color correction, then color correction, then color manipulation if they would want to. Some people want something more punchy or whatever. It's really up to the flavor, but again, it should match the overall theme. As most people miss that they would like have individual photos standing out, but if you're wanting to coalesce them into, like, you want them like really co you know to 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 like blend in with each other when you put them in together at some level, but to a point that they still shine out. So that gradient range that I'm talking about, where you want them to blend and actually contrast, that's really more of experience, and the minor things that you'd pay attention to in a situation that would be different. Okay, so these are the application that I just do. I did not do any like selection based. I did not do like any selection based editing, just to keep this short and simple, and I have work later. Yeah, so let's go through that. So generally for the layout, the first decision you need to make, are you going to make the individual elements merge into the background, or are you going to make the individual elements be dictating the format of the background? So what I've done here is I've imported some of the pictures, and I'll be hiding these. So from the background, what I wanted to do was to merge for the individual elements to dictate what it's going to look like. So I will have to go through the decision making model onto all of the pictures, so they will dictate their own size, and that size will be what I'll be placing around here depending on how I want to place it, right? I don't want them to stand out individually, so there should be scaling for them at a particular level. So most of the decision I'll be making would be, what shape will be. So the major decision I want to make is what shape is going to be before I punch it out and put it in here, right? So let's go through the first one. And this picture was actually a bigger picture, and going through, where's the original of this one? So just showing you here, this is the original photo. If you take a look at the photo for the decision of cropping, well, what I'm seeing is, so first thing I look, it's overexposed, but from the cropping perspective, your main subjects are going to be this guy and this girl. And the main focus is this girl's reaction. Generally, what I'm seeing here, there are lines that are drawing to her face, but that's not emphasized enough. Also, I don't want this person to be shown on the picture, as well as his knee is not important. It's already cut, so I'm going to be cutting that out. So that I want to focus on the chandeliers, to give it a feel of what was where it happened. Of course, there are some corrections we're going to be making. There's that guy, sheen on these glasses, and there are various elements like an exit sign. I don't really want to be in there. So how I cut this picture, let's go back here, is just like that. Okay, so generally people duplicate the layer. So for here, let's do the crop. Okay, I don't want that manager here. So the composition decision, like this could be a 1 by 1 cut, but I want it a little bit higher because we don't really need a space from the bottom. The line coming from the plant of from the grid. Did you want the grid? I want the second middle spot of the grid to be on her face. So I'm going to be needing to cut it on the left. I'm going to need to cut it from the right. Oh, well, that's opposite, but I want the chandeliers. I want them to be yellow and bright. I want the knees to be pointing to, so there are two conflicting lines here. So I see two X's. Like, there's a big X here, all right? Not that I'm not implying anything for the couple, they're sweet, go on. But there's that guy at the back. It's like taking a picture. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna be forced to like cut it, and let's see if we can drown him out. We may need a specific way of drowning him in post, but do we include that person here? Probably not. Okay, let's see. So we'll probably cut it this way. No, that doesn't work. Let's do it again. I think the problem with that was the back. The back of the guy was like too much. I like her shoes. Let's keep those there. Back. Some point where the guy is not observable. Yeah, that would do. Too much on the back here. I want to shine down on that one. Okay, so that's the first cut. Let's go to the next one. This girl was actually one of the greatest. Normally, the reason why this stood out to me is somebody proposed within the company event. So that's new. That's something new. They're both on the project. Really good people. This one is actually a good singer. I met her. I noticed her last year when she tried to sing for the summer party. I asked her, let's record a video. Just do something. I wanted to do a music video, but typical responses from girls about me. They usually just always accept my offers. But anyway, so here's the picture. Gonna duplicate that. Gonna hide the main picture. I'm gonna be just a bad habit of mine. So what's the focus here? The girl. Of course, the girl. Did we need a full body shot? Not really. Are we using like the entire space? What's it saying here? Like production number. That's not really significant. It's like chop that down, right? So focus, girl. Yep. Crop. Yes. All right. Now next step is, do we need to crop it even more? Did we need the bottom half of her body? I like this flower, so let's keep that. And then this separation here, I don't like it. So I want a crop that's like including the flower and yep, something like that. Let's not cut her hands, of course. Cutting hands is not good. It's also a punishment in some countries, but yeah. All right, let's do that. Let's cut here. Am I happy with that? Yeah. We will need some corrections. Color corrections are pretty difficult on the stage, and even when you're taking them, because the white balance can be different, you have a lot of different light sources that have their own intensity and they have their own color. So if that's the case, at the very least, you would have the correct color temperature for the face. But going back to cropping, let's go to this part. So this picture was her standing up. She's one of the persons that got a lot of reactions from her performance. What she did was she had like this fierce entry that was like starting from darkness, and there were two like almost guys, and I'm not sure if there were guys, but I think whatever. Anyway, so here's what we have a stage, and then the LED distribution, the background at the back. We really need it. So the core concept of this photo, why I like it, is actually the emotion. The emotion here is that fierce look and those claws, right? So her shoes, her hands like claws, and we want to keep those two. I didn't really need the two guys, so we're gonna be cropping it like this. So by now you have an idea. This is that shape, and this is that shape, and this is that shape, and then this not yet. All right, so pretty standard. I'm gonna be including those. Um, yes, I want a stagey feel on the shot. Stagey feel. Yep. Stagey feel. Yes, stagey feel. Yes, stagey feel. Yes, stagey feel. Except for this one, we might need to like give an element of stage into this later for color manipulation, right? Yeah. All right. So well, anyway, let's go to the next one. Right. So here you have a female with, of course, she stood out because she's generally pretty and she's nice, and she's the three-time winner for the best dress for the night, right? So in this case, I'm really very torn. We don't want the picture too small that you don't get the details. I like the silhouette of the spotlight on her. Not a very good spotlight that night, let me tell you. But what we have here is like, do we really include the dress? The focus again, the emotion. That confidence is like shining over the dress. Dress is nice. The embroidery is nice. I think contrast is nice. Whatever. That confidence I'm seeing here is definitely something I want. Do we want it like dead center? If it's like a one by one, that's probably nice. But generally, what I have so far are rectangles. So we'll probably do that in post. I really like the silhouette, so I don't want to cut that out. So the thing here is, if you have a person looking away from the center, people might feel like they're being, what do you call it, trapped. But she's looking up. And she's looking up, and this line that's from her elbow to the shadows is like slightly dominant. It's like a tertiary dominant. It's not that dominant, but it actually leads up to her. So if you look at it, it's like a positive growth. It's like a, imagine a chart going up. And there's symmetry with how that is done. She's probably right-handed, so there's like a bigger right hand. But generally she's pretty. And how we would be cutting that is, I really wanted to have this, like, of the night, something like that. But, this is what I have. This is how I want to cut it. The bend here, probably we might want to cut out more, but since that's really here, if you're looking at the crop decision, there's nowhere up anyway. So we're going to have to, like, we would want something like that where the eyes are crossing, but whatever, we don't have that. That's what we're going to use, and that's what we're going to stick to. All right, let's go to the next picture. So I'm pretty torn with these two pictures. There were a lot of great shots. This was one of the best performances of the night. There was so much emotion with her eyes and how she expressed it. She has big beady eyes and she's from skin tone, pretty good. So this performance was good. It took me back. I really like Lea Salonga, but I was thinking, should I include one or this one or this one? I decided, yeah, fuck, I'm gonna do both, right? So I'm gonna put them both. I'm gonna put them side by side, same scaling, same crop, but the focus is going to be different for both. So for here, I really like the eyes of this person. The way she looks at him. It's like he's trying to explain something, like I did something bad, and she was like, "Oh, what did you do? I still love you," something like that. All right, well, she is good. I think she has some experience with performance. So, and the other one is more of their connection. You see those connection. The thing though with this is it's not like it's not a very thin aperture shot, and you would want that focus just on their faces and that close. But that's a stage. It's really like you need pretty good equipment for that. So let's crop it. Two, we don't need actually the costumes are good, yeah. So to the sandals are good. Is he wearing slippers? The trinkets and everything is going nice and all. So the first decision, okay, what are my subjects? Do we need a stage? No. So how much do we crop it off? So the decision is going to be like, sandals, good detail, but no, we don't need it, right? Don't need it, sell it. Don't love it, leave it, right? Okay, here. I want something like this, but if you're gonna crop it like this, what you'd have is like very contrasting, and we'll do some character corrections. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so let's like blow these up just to see if we have like details we like. Of course, scaling is not good. All of these were shot JPEG, so you know, whatever. Emotion, this one emotion, this one emotion, confidence, you know, those eyes, this emotion. Um, she's my favorite, so yeah, we'll just include her. Okay. I like the entire gown, not anything on the silhouettes, like yeah, initial crop. All right, so let's go to the these two. Going back to these two. This detail, good to have, gives a feel. But generally, when you scale something out, you don't want individual elements from your individual elements. So details from individual elements are gonna be like too partial to be even noticed. So you're better off cropping them. Yes, yes. All right. So next, probably I wanna flip on this one, right? Like literally flip on this. Yes. So the reason why I want to flip is there's a natural progression from left to right, and that's normal for people writing English. Like I don't write, but you know, you get the drift, right? The natural progression from left to right, and in the initial crop, what you would want is her eyes to like hit this. You know, if you're looking at this subject, so these two subjects, this guy is like, you know, partially that, but he's like secondary. That's why he's on the right. He's not on the left, right? On the left, right? So whatever. I want her eyes to be like, I want her eyes to be like hitting that. Yeah. The robe is good, but yeah, I'm gonna be leaving you out. Yeah. Okay. So let's like crop it a little bit more. She's like the center of attention here. Something like that. Crop him more. Maybe something like that. But I want it a bit wider. Yeah. I want a wide shot on this one. Yep. His eye still there? So human. Okay, let's include your hat because it got destroyed and whatever. Yeah? Mike? Probably not. Do we cut her our hands? How does it look like? No. Not too much of the... So let's do more. Let's do another one. Okay, we know I want it to be like this, right? Would it work if she's like at the bottom? Let's see. Nope. I don't like that shadow there. Maybe I will do some selected editing. Her hands are complete. Something like this, maybe. Yeah, I want something like that. Yeah. Okay. No. This is not working. I need more detail just to say, you know, it's an Arabian thing. Or, you know, whatever, Persian, whatever they tried. I don't really know what it is. Not enough space there, not enough space there. It's pretty cut, but, you know, she's the center of attention here. She's all that, so let's give it that. No, I'm not happy. Let's undo that. I want some space here. One more. Okay, not a whole body, but... So this is a common composition crop problem, where you like the detail, you like, you know, see those details, and that's actually what makes it like a complete like Arabian thing, or, you know, I don't know, just racist Middle Eastern comment here, but what I'm trying to say is that, you know, how much of it do I keep? Let's keep you one. Okay, let's try something like this. Maybe. Yep. Again, the focus is not that good. Again, it's a stage shot. It was a moving shot. Equipment wasn't that, you know, high priced. So, but I really like the shot. See, I like her emotion from out of like that over 2,000 photos. One of the photos I like. Okay, so cropping decision done there. This is the next one for the cropping decision here. Probably, yeah. Well, I think I made a cropping decision. Yeah. So we did we did an initial crop. We'll go ahead and zoom in a bit here. What we want is the connection. So maybe this is like a, all right, so the ratio on this is, let's stick with the ratio. Well, whatever. So it's a length, column-wise cut, right? This also needs to be a column-wise cut. So we're gonna match them. Oh, what the hell is that? don't apply. Alright, so we're gonna do the crop. We're gonna go 0. Crop left. Yes, I like that thing falling off of her hair. Yes, there you go. It would be better if he was touching her face, but not the mic. But the mic was not working. But whatever. Yeah. How much of the details we want? Oh my god, I want all of that. But let's see. All right, so those are the cropping decisions I had for these photos. Next would be how they blend together. It would be better if you blend them during they're already laid out here, but that's the cropping segment, and that's done. Alright, so I've laid out all of the pictures, and what I'm doing here is actually, this is going to be the finished product closely because I'm actually running out of time to go to work. I should have dressed up, and I'm going to share with you some of the design decisions when selecting how to lay out the individual pictures into the background. So I wound up with a background that's going to be a little bit more paler based on how much contrast I actually needed, and I needed to compensate the background due to the contrast that I needed in the individual pictures. So from the pictures, I'd had to select them, and generally most of them were red, and they'd have this red stripe. So on one of the major decisions I had, which ones were to group, right? So I've grouped them based on, all right, these are the models, this is singing, this is dancing, this is a particular performance, and this is a particular performance, and this is a particular activity, right? So I generally clump them together, and most of them have a stage feel, like I said a while ago, but not really, since they would have their own temperature. So the ones at the bottom, I could not even place them at the top just because of that line. You see, that line might dominate and split the thing in half. So it has to be at the bottom. If these lines are actually at the top part of the individual pictures, it's better to put them up top unless you really want that split dab in the middle that will complement this. It's like a big slab of splice right in between your pictures. Also, you might see that I alternated them in a 2-1-1-2-1 pattern, as opposed to if I have all of these ones together and then all of the twos together. When I say 1 or 2, the line is at this height and as 1 and this height as 2. So if you do that, if you put them beside each other, they will actually have a more dominant effect. Individually, what I did, just to show you to the contrast, it's better if you have a black sheet to contrast the entire thing without the background with. So that's one thing I do. So I'm gonna hide that out, and I'm gonna check out the group 2. So here are the individual photos. What I do generally is go from order from left to right and top to bottom, just like with English writing, and actually order the layers in that fashion. I actually imported them randomly because normally you won't have a particular order before you put them in, unless they have a very clear picture. It's really rare that you'd have them even before laying them out. So on these pictures, I need to make some adjustments. So one of the things is the individual people have to pop out from the background. So you would have the background to blend more with the the stage background to blend more with the background here. So what we're needing to do is actually so just showing you the original one. Yeah, so that's going to be like that. We see that the contrast from here to here, from the background to the stage, is really very stark. So I like that to be a little bit more subtle. So what I need to do is punch out the contrast on this particular photo, and you might see that once I punch that out, it's more subtle and it's more blending into that, and that would mean that the contrast is from here to here is a lot more greater. So going to this, she's my favorite dancer. I added these two because there were two things I also wanted to include. Stuck out. She's my favorite dancer on the project, and you might see that there are too many details to this one, but the thing is they're all leading to her. That these lines are leading to her. You might see that okay, that's her, and it's her stripes are leading to her face and whatnot. This is a fast-paced shot, and the quality is not good. Of course, photo focus wasn't like that. Again, it's a stage shot. This was generally too red of a shot and too magenta of a shot. Like normally when you go to a stage, you have strong red and blue lights, and people play with that, and they don't really, the light directors don't really pay attention to that, especially for the shots, and they wouldn't even compensate that for shots. So that's one of the difficult things when you're covering a stage shot, unless you have some particular angle that you're consistently there with, so or waiting for that shot. So the same thing happened here on the next picture. I had to like make some changes on the contrast because originally this was too dark and I want her to like to pop out. So unless you do a specific edit on her, like you select her specifically and turn her brightness up and keep the brightness of the entire thing down, given I don't have the liberty of time, I'd have to punch out. And in my composition, I'd like to see her more as opposed to, having the entire thing dark. Another thing of the decision was if I'm going to put her here or here, but, he's a guy. I wouldn't put a guy in front of her, so whatever. Um, some people say bros before hoes, but whatever. Yeah? So I like her more, so she's going to stay on top there, right? On the third picture from the bottom right, we still have Rose. So she's a good singer, great singer, yeah. I needed to, again, make that blending ability. See? So there is no contrast. Well, on the individual picture before you import it, you would need to do some sort of edit to make sure they pop, but when they're putting it all together, you need to make them pop more. So some people can adjust that even before importing them because they have a better vision of what the output's going to be, but that's not the case in this take. All right, so let's go to the next one. Final thing, I swapped these two out. Okay, so let's go ahead and swap those out. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna swap the three of them. Yeah, all right. So this one and this one. So she goes first because I remember her the most. I like the spotlight. Again, another spotlight shot, but this is with a better shadow. Too much space here. That's one of the reasons why I originally intended for her to be on the left, because generally you want this dead space like closer to the edges of your entire composition, well, as it all blends together. But in this case, since that's also a thing, and it shows her curves, that's nice. So, but I put her first. Whole body, more detail, very detailed, and very simple. So there's also that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 thing I'm going. So from left to right, top, I'm going down, right? So on this left one, on the first one, I really cannot opt not to remove this because for this one, really what you have is it's a proposal. It's something people remember, and a lot of people flocked into when it happened, what happened when it happened. So yeah, so I'm gonna include that regardless of the color, and that's actually a pretty outlying thing. It's not part of the event, but really, if my customer was the events organizer, I would not include that because that's not even part, unless they really wanted that, and those aren't really included in the agreement packages that you have. Okay. Next is this one. So there's going to be a little bit of problem here, but I also made some adjustments both with vibrance and contrast, again for the blending. Something with the red eye there that you can actually remove. Um, Out of convenience time, I don't have it, but if I stretch this too far out, you have this space, and that's actually disturbing me, and it's one of the design decisions that I actually cannot keep. I'm not like paying attention to, so that and that, so in this case, I'll just leave it as it is, not worry about it too much, but I'm gonna tell it's like really ugly that if I stretch this too much or stretch this just lengthwise, then you'd have like a crazy aspect ratio, and I'm a little bit like, yeah, I can say I'm a little bit crazy about aspect ratios. I don't like aspect ratios being converted from what they originally like. Most part of what I do is like I like things looking a little bit more natural. So that, so there, I couldn't expand the picture more because these guys weren't even taken in the original shot. But if I had the liberty, I would do that and expand that. Have the time to probably select another lengthwise shot to add here and remove this text. So let's hide that text, right? So in this case, last and not the least, on the right, layer 3 and layer 4, you might see I have not put any adjustments. So we're going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to share you some of the decisions as we're going there. Left and right. Right is more bright, left is not that bright. So again, let's see if we can adjust it by brightness. Again, you can click this small thing to make sure that it affects only that layer. Right? Brightness up, you lose more detail. Contrast up, okay, now it turns blue. Right? So you go to that compensation where you're gonna now need to select, alright, so what am I gonna do with the blues? So let's take out some of the blues, make sure they're a bit yellowish. No, it's not doing it cyan. Let's put some red into it. lines. So this one isn't working. This one isn't working. So let's hide that. Okay, where's that? Layer 3. Layer 3, yeah. So brightness and contrast, let's see how it does with just this. Not good. I also don't want the reds. Right, so I want her to like blend on the back. So something similar to that tone. A little bit more greenish maybe? No, too much. See, so in that case, what I need to do is take both of these out. Gonna like trim this out by brightness a lot. See, and I want more contrast. Yep. Alright. There you go. So that blends a lot better. So this is like, you can see that there's like a general feel for all of the pictures. Generally I would want to put some borders and like smoothen out the edges on these photos just to say that they're not photos. But, so what we're going to do is we're going to try to replicate this color for this. And if that were the case, you can change to color this from here and do a selective edit, but that's too much of a problem. So not really going to do that. Let's try it with the curves. So what you can do with the curves is you can just be very specific. Let's tone down the blues from here. And again, just this photo. Alright, so the low blues, I don't really want the low blues, so let's take those out. Right, there you go. Something that blends more with it. Yeah? Something with the high blues also is impacting me. Right, let's take a look at the greens. Reds. Maybe let's pop out the reds a bit. Maybe the high reds aren't good. Maybe some of the low reds. No. Not working. Nope. So, again, I really like her eyes on the shop. It's not really popping out, but, you know, you see that connection, and they're flipped away from each other, so that's good. So, another sacrifice there. And, you know, you can have your text, whatever the text is, and you just put that there. Alright, so I'm gonna do like an overall check of the thing. Looks nice. I'm gonna be, you know, posting and adding some text here. I'm gonna be, you know, saving this as. Some people would do a sharpen, unsharpen, sharpen, unsharpen, sharpen, unsharpen, or somebody would do like their final rendering. But in my case, you know, this is good enough. I'm gonna saving this. I'm gonna save this as, and I'm gonna like save this as a JPEG now, and then I'm gonna be exporting it to, of course, I'm gonna export it to high quality. Yeah, maximum. Yep. All right. Let's do progressive. How much is that? All right. Let's save that out. Okay. Of course. Where else will we post it? Where you lose a lot of quality. So let's go to, you know. So you don't really have to watch this, but you know. Thank you for watching. I'll be just posting this on Facebook, and I hope you learned something from watching me from creating that video, and more importantly for the design decisions on how things come together in terms of color and lighting and decision making, and how it should be aligned overall just to produce something. Not really the best work I've done, but you know, sharing just what I know. Not really the best at this, but yeah, hope you learned something. Have a pleasant day and a wonderful new year.